The world stands on the brink of a massive energy crisis as the Iran conflict escalates. In the United Kingdom, diesel prices have surged to their highest levels since late 2022, with the average price at British forecourts now officially crossing 180 pence per litre. This afternoon, top leaders from the worlds of energy, shipping, and banking met the Prime Minister at Downing Street for urgent talks to discuss the severe economic fallout as missile strikes continue to damage Middle East energy infrastructure.
An Israeli refinery recently became the latest target in a series of tit-for-tat missile exchanges, while the United States is threatening to seize Iran's giant Harg Island oil depot. The economic shockwaves of this escalation are being felt globally, but Asia is currently the hardest hit due to its high dependence on Gulf oil deliveries. We are seeing reports of severe fuel shortages in India, rationing in Sri Lanka, and widespread protests in the Philippines. While the UK imports very little physical oil directly from the Gulf, markets are global, and a shortage anywhere translates to price rises everywhere, placing a traumatic financial burden on local businesses and transportation firms. This vulnerability is largely due to the fact that the UK imports 60% of its diesel from abroad, mainly from refineries in Belgium and the Netherlands. These European refineries rely heavily on crude oil from the Gulf, and although tankers that set sail a month ago are still arriving, significant gaps in the supply chain will soon begin to appear, increasing price pressures. Retailers are now urgently calling on the government to scrap plans for a fuel duty increase this September, following the lead of countries like Australia. Meanwhile, President Trump has stated that while the U.S. is in discussions with a potential new regime in Iran, he has issued a stark warning. Unless the Strait of Hormuz is opened immediately, the U.S. will obliterate Iran's electric plants, oil wells, and the critical Harg Island facility. Thousands of U.S. Marines, along with special forces and paratroopers from the 82nd Airborne Division, are already gathering near the Gulf as the administration prepares for possible ground operations to force a conclusion to the conflict.
The strategic stakes are incredibly high, as Harg Island handles 90% of Iran's oil exports. However, any invasion will be met with fierce resistance, as Iran retains enough drones and missiles to rain fire down on encroaching forces. Military analysts warn that sending ground troops near the Iranian coast significantly increases the risk of casualties, creating a nightmare scenario of a difficult fight with no clear strategic gain. Inside Iran, the population is hurting badly. Clips shared by local residents show a deep frustration with both sides, with many simply pleading for a ceasefire to end the suffering. Beyond the main conflict, the RAF has been active in downing Iranian drones, while NATO forces recently intercepted a ballistic missile in the Mediterranean. As President Trump pursues a twin-track strategy of extreme pressure and talk of negotiations, the world remains on edge. With a new self-imposed deadline approaching next Monday, the international community is waiting to see if a diplomatic off-ramp can be found before the situation escalates into a total global catastrophe.